I don't know, man. Got to figure out how to stop talking about it and do it, or else you'll be, into the new year with the same problem. So whatever it is, if it's within our control, we got to do it if we're going to be any type of a serious team. And yeah, I'm kind of sick of talking about it too. You just got to go do it.
From the look of Steph's demeanor, the Golden State Warriors are not as good as they hope to be. And as much as I hate to say this, but the subpar play of their starting lineup is actually one of the big reasons why they're having a hard time climbing out of this hole that they've dug themselves into. I mean, 2 seasons ago, the 4-man core of Steph, Klay, Wiggins, and Draymond led the Dubs to a championship. And even though they got booted out early in the playoffs last season, these 4 guys, along with Kevon Looney, were the single most dominant high-usage 5-man lineup in the entire NBA. But with a quarter of the season already in the books, the same thing can't be said for the starters, as they register a negative 8.3 net rating. And what's shocking about this is that the quintet of Steph, Klay, Wiggins, Green, and Looney has been outscored by 13 points per 100 possessions as of this video. With Klay and Wiggs not playing like they used to, and Draymond being unpredictable in terms of his availability, I think Steve Kerr needs to give some floor time to the other guys, especially to their young guns, who have been keeping them afloat in late games as of late, with their energy and effort. With this mentioned, let's talk about in this video who among the Dubs' young players deserves some quality minutes, and eventually who among them should earn the right to be part of the starting unit. Now, first, let's talk about Moses Moody. If you watch their in-season tournament matchup against the Kings, you can argue that Moody was the one who set the tone early on in the fourth, as he scored 11 points in about 7.5 minutes without missing a single shot, while the starters were sitting on the bench. However, as Moody was starting to rev up, Kerr pulled him out around the 5-minute mark to replace him with Wiggins. And as we all know, the Dubs choked that game as they lost by 1 point after blowing a 24-point lead. Kerr would later admit that he made a mistake in sitting out Moody despite the fact that he was playing really well at that time, and I highly doubt that they would have lost that game if he remained on the court until the end of the game. Moody is only clocking in 19 minutes a ball game so far, but if you expand that to 36 minutes, you can see that he averages 16.1 points and 6.5 rebounds on 48% shooting from the field and 34.7% from 3. These numbers go to show that he can definitely bring more to the table if you jack up his minutes. In addition, I think Moody has been the most reliable wing over the first 6 weeks of the season, as well as the most reliable player in the Dubs lineup not named Steph Curry. With Klay's game being very unpredictable this season, Kerr can insert Moody in the starting lineup because aside from hitting open 3-pointers on kickouts, he's also a more athletic defender than Klay, who has clearly lost a step and explosiveness on both sides of the ball. Speaking of his defense, Moody ranks 3rd on the team behind GP2 and CP3 with a 2.0 steal percentage, while his 1.1 deflections per game are actually way more than Wiggins and Thompson combined despite playing far more minutes. A guy like Moody also brings a ton of energy and hustle, especially in games where they're down big, and if he can knock down his outside shots more consistently, I think Kerr will swap him for Klay in the starting lineup if Klay's game continues to sink to new lows throughout the rest of the season. Now, aside from Moses Moody, the Dubs' newest rookie, Brandon Podziemski, is also providing quality minutes every time he sees floor action. And when Draymond was asked his opinion about the rookie, he simply had nothing to say but praises and compliments in terms of his willingness to learn and absorb new ideas, as well as his veteran-like composure.
Steve highlighted a play where Podziemski blew up one of the Clippers' plays at the end. What do you notice about what he's able to do, sort of in terms of little things, not just scoring?
He's a gamer. He's a competitor, and he's smart. And he is a student of the game. He asks a million questions, whether it's to CP, whether it's me or coach, he's always asking questions. He'll come just sit next to you and listen. And, it shows up when he plays. But, BP is one of those guys that we knew right away coming into not even training camp. We knew right away when we did the mini camp, like, this kid can play. Like, he's going to shock a lot of people because, if you look at our roster, I'm certain the expectation was that he'd spend a bunch of time in Santa Cruz. And you saw him play once, and you're like, oh, man, this kid play. Then you see him play again, you like, and I actually told my friends, I said, yo, I know everybody's thinking BP's going to spend a bunch of time in Santa Cruz. Watch him end up being a part of the rotation. And it's unfortunate that we got guys out, but when you do have guys out, that's your opportunity to step up. And every time his number's been called, he stepped up. And so it's good to see him having the success he's had and having. It's great for us, great for him, and he'll continue to grow because he loves 8 rebounds. Like, I couldn't even get 8 rebounds tonight. Like that, he's all over the place. He reads the game. He's solid, doesn't make mistakes. And that shows in him blowing up a play. That's a rookie. Rookies don't blow up plays. Like, rookie up plays. And he doesn't.
I mean, so far in the 16 games that he played in, he logged 6 games where he scored double digits, 8 games where he grabbed 5+ rebounds, and 6 games where he registered at least 1 steal. And out of that 16 games, he logged a negative plus-minus in only 3 games, which means that Pods has been playing really well in the first stretch of the season. Just like Moody, he's had pretty limited playing time this season with a tick below 20 minutes per ball game, while averaging 7.3 points, 4.4 rebounds, and 2.3 assists. However, if you theoretically expand his minutes to 36 a ball game, his numbers are going to spike across the board, with an average of 13.7 points, 8.3 rebounds, and 4.2 assists on 45.4% shooting from the field and 43.6% from distance. Standing at 6'5", Pods can be squeezed into any type of small ball lineup with his size, as he can play positions from 1 to 3, and his ability to facilitate, rebound, defend, and score at the same time presents a lot of problems for the defense. Simply put, Pods is a multi-skilled jumbo guard who can basically fill up the stat sheet on any given night, and this is the type of player that the Dubs need right now to turn their fortunes around. Anyways, the last young gun that needs to be given a lot of playing time is none other than Jonathan Kuminga. So far, across 21 games this season, JK is showing a major leap in year 3 by averaging almost 12 points a ball game while grabbing 3.3 rebounds and 1 assist on 46.9% shooting from the field, with a career high in field goal attempts with 9.2 shots a ball game. I mean, he's been able to record all of these with just 20.1 minutes of playing time. But see, if you stretch his playing time to 36 minutes, JK can definitely put up bigger numbers to the tune of 21 points, 6 rebounds, 1.7 assists, and 1 steal on 46.9% shooting. Without question, his energy and athleticism coming off the bench were the difference makers in some of the games that they won, especially in 3 of their last 4. I mean, in their big win against the Clippers, Kuminga scored 17 while grabbing 6 rebounds and 3 assists on 75-60 shooting splits from the field and 3. Then, after being held scoreless in the first half against the rebuilding Blazers, JK turned it up in the final 17 minutes and racked up 13 points to become the hero of that game for the Dubs. And more recently, versus OKC, Kuminga recorded a double-double as he unleashed a 24-point explosion while grabbing 12 boards on 10 of 21 shooting from the field while knocking down 3 triples in a losing effort. With Wiggins playing like a ghost as of late, Kuminga is a suitable candidate to replace him in the starting unit, because he's not only versatile, but he's athletic too, and he can definitely fit into any offensive scheme that the Warriors have in their playbook. Now, after being too headstrong in his decision to stick with his regular rotations, Steve Kerr has finally come to his senses and is now open to doing some major tinkering in the starting lineup.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, and we talk about it every day. I've really been patient and hoping to get our first unit, from the last couple of years, into a good groove. It's just easier to play and to coach when everybody knows exactly where they fit in. And role players, it's easier to play a role when there's kind of a set rotation and the stars are playing well and all that. So everything, the puzzle kind of fits. So to be honest, the puzzle hasn't fit this year, and we've had a lot of guys playing well, but we may have to think about, moving the starting lineup around game to game, depending on who we're facing. I'd still prefer to get something solid, but we haven't really established anything this year, and we're a quarter of the way through, so there's definitely a lot of thought that's going to have to go into this.
Anyway, about the changes in the starting lineup, the only guys that I think are untouchables are Steph and Draymond, even with his WWE antics. I'm looking at you, Rudy Gobert. The reason behind this is quite simple. Steph is still by far the Warriors' best offensive player, while Draymond is the best defender in the lineup, so I don't see any reason why these two guys would be moved at all. Now, as for the remaining 3 positions, I think Kerr should seriously consider putting Clay on the bench for now, while Moody takes his spot in the starting role. As I mentioned earlier, Moody is the more consistent player on both ends compared to Clay, who is still finding his groove back. And with the way Wiggins has been playing this season thus far, I think Kuminga could fill in for him for now because they basically share the skill set and physical tools, so this temporary switch-up isn't going to be a big deal as the season progresses.